Determined to prove that Wonderland exists, Alice returns as a young woman but ends up falling in love with a genie who's hiding from a powerful man from another story. A little girl named Alice emerges from a rabbit hole and rushes home, calling for her father, Edwin. When he opens the door, Edwin is surprised to see Alice as he thought she was dead. When Alice tells him about her strange adventures in Wonderland, her father consults with Dr. Lydgate, who assumes the girl is delusional. Hearing them, Alice is determined to get proof. Years later, a man named Will steals a shop owner's key. Inside, he's enjoying his tea when a quake and an explosion interrupt him. Then, he sees a rabbit in a jacket and trousers emerge from the hole. Familiar with each other, Rabbit tells him that Alice needs help, and since Will is the Knave of Hearts, they must work together. Alice, who's now a lady in the Bethlehem Asylum, faces the psychiatrists for her evaluation. Her father sent her there when she kept going missing and told tales of strange characters and terrifying adventures. Alice is now convinced that they were her imagination, although she recalls her time in Wonderland a year ago. Hiding from the caterpillar, Alice took a piece of the mushroom's meat and ran away. She arrived at the maze, and the queen's guards chased her. To avoid them, Alice ate the meat and shrank. However, a guard passing by hit her with his shoes, and she fell to the ground. At present, Lydgate calls Alice's attention, and she says that she lied about Wonderland and was with a friend when she went missing. The doctor is suspicious, so Alice claims she was a fool when she was young, but now she knows what happened. Triggered by her past, she remembers that at the maze, she found a bottle with a genie named Cyrus inside it. Alice warned him that she'll break his house apart if he surrendered her to the guards. The man assured her that he didn't wish to upset Alice. As they got comfortable, she learned that Cyrus was from a land called Agrabah, and she shared that she was from England. Alice explained that she was there to find proof and pulled out Rabbit, whom she had hidden in her bag. The genie realized that Alice was risking her life for someone who didn't believe her, adding that true love didn't need proof. Alice hoped things were different, so Cyrus offered to grant her 3 wishes. At the interview, the doctor challenges Alice to admit that meeting the genie was a lie. Still, the young lady remembers when Cyrus proposed to her on the cliff overlooking the boiling sea. When the genie got down on one knee, Alice immediately accepted, connecting their hearts through the crimson amulet. In this way, they could sense each other's presence. However, the Red Queen and her guards interrupted the lovers. Lydgate reminds Alice that Edwin found her mourning Cyrus' death. He believes that Alice created the Fantasyland and the characters to help her cope. She isn't the first child to do so, but she's the only adult who still thinks it's real. Alice tells him she no longer believes in Wonderland, but the doctor knows she's lying because she still cries out for Cyrus in her sleep. Alice then remembers how she and Cyrus fought the queen's guards, but they were outnumbered. Then, the woman used magic to throw the genie off the cliff. To help her with the loss, Lydgate convinces Alice to try a new treatment. While Alice sleeps in her room later, the doctor prepares his tools and instructs his staff to fetch her. Alice wakes up and hears a noise. Thinking it's the staff, she asks for time, but is surprised to see Knave instead. He tries to convince Alice to leave, but she refuses. When the guards arrive to restrain him, Knave reveals that the rabbit saw Cyrus alive and reminds Alice that nothing is impossible in Wonderland. Convinced, Alice fights off the guards while Knave watches, impressed. As Alice secures her shoes, Knave says he's only there to deliver the message, but he follows her anyway. When they get to the hallway, Rabbit scolds them for being late. They run into the doctor, who advises Alice not to run away, assuring her he can help her get better. When Rabbit appears and talks, Lydgate is shocked, and Alice advises him to use his own treatment instead. As they head outside, the guards chase them, so they flee. When they reach the locked gate, Alice tells Rabbit to dig a hole. Quickly, the creature creates a portal and jumps in. Knave hesitates to join because he left Wonderland on bad terms. However, Alice reminds him that she helped him retrieve his heart, so now he can help her retrieve hers. As the guards get close, Knave decides to jump in the hole with Alice, and they land in the Mallow Marsh. Rabbit then corrects Knave and says that the Dormouse was the one who saw Cyrus in the Mad Hatter's abandoned house. Upon hearing this, Knave gets mad since it's uncertain that Cyrus is even alive. He and Alice start sinking into the marsh, so Rabbit leaves to get help. Alice advises Knave to stop moving, or they'll sink quickly. The man then complains about dying like a toasted s'more. Inspired by this, Alice grabs the flying dragonfly and uses its fire to harden the Mallow Marsh so they can climb up. While cleaning themselves, Knave becomes impatient because Rabbit hasn't returned. When Alice realizes he wants to leave, she reminds him they need to find Cyrus. Knave explains that he's no longer welcome in Wonderland after his misdeeds, so he'd prefer to focus on his future in the human world than risk everything on a hunch. Alice says she'll pay him and removes her heel to show him him 3 wishing gems. When he sees it, he wonders why she can't use it to bring Cyrus back. Alice explains that wishes are unpredictable and conditional, so she's scared it might go wrong if she wishes to rescue Cyrus. Realizing he only needs to be careful with his wish, Knave agrees to help her find the genie in exchange for 1 wish. While running for help, Rabbit encounters the Red Queen, who's been expecting him. He reports that Alice has returned to look for Cyrus, then asks to be set free, but the Queen says they'll settle things after the game. Then, she demands that Rabbit spy on Alice or he'll die. Out of options, Rabbit accepts his fate. In the woods, Knave fears a trap, but Alice is hopeful that her beloved is alive. Knave then wonders about the Queen's motives for killing the genie. On her balcony, the Queen sees Jafar, a magician with a serpent staff, and she informs him that Alice is back as planned. However, Jafar says they need the bottle and for Alice to make all her wishes. The Queen reminds him of his place when he talks down on her. Still, Jafar claims she's no longer helpful to him, threatening her. He chokes her, but she reminds him that she knows Wonderland better and only she can monitor Alice, so the man releases her and leaves on his flying carpet. Deep in the woods, Alice and Knave find a wanted poster with the latter's face. While Knave takes it down, Alice wants to know how far they are from the Hatter's house, so she removes her shoes and starts climbing the tree. When Alice finds the house and calls Knave, she realizes that he has left with her shoes. Then, her friend, the Cheshire Cat, appears, and Alice notices that it has changed. She then reminds the cat that friends don't eat each other, but Cheshire still attacks her, and she falls from the tree. Alice stands up and avoids the cat, but it hits her with its tail, slamming her down. Cheshire then shares that the Queen promised that Alice is the sweetest meat. Just before Cheshire devours her, Knave arrives and throws a mushroom at its mouth, shrinking the creature. Alice is surprised that Knave left her earlier, but he says he's only protecting the wishes. Unconvinced, she thinks he returned because he remembered that a wishing gem needs to be granted, not stolen. Soon, they arrive at the Hatter's house, and Alice runs inside. However, there's no one there. When Rabbit appears, Knave instructs him to dig a hole so they can return home. Then, he tells Alice that Cyrus was never in the house as he would have appeared by now. Realizing that Knave is right, Alice cries outside. The man then scolds Rabbit for letting Alice grieve twice. Moments later, Alice finds Cyrus' amulet in the grass. Rabbit hopes the necklace saved the genie from the boiling sea, but Knave claims it survived as it's made of magic, unlike Cyrus. He then advises her to start anew and meet someone else, but she refuses, swearing that Cyrus is alive. When Knave asks for proof, she argues that true love doesn't need one. Although reluctant, Knave agrees to help her find her beloved. Elsewhere, Cyrus wakes up and remembers that Jafar's magic carpet saved him from the boiling sea, but the magician also locked him in a cage. Years ago in Agrabah, Jafar confronted a man named Farzin, who had riches despite his low income. Farzin claimed he was just well invested, but Jafar knew he was lying and asked whether he met someone who could grant wishes. This made the man sweat in nervousness. When his kettle boiled, Farzin excused himself. Inside, he grabbed a bottle from the cupboard. When he opened it, Cyrus appeared, and Farzin informed the genie that Jafar was outside as they predicted. Scared, the man used his third wish to send Cyrus far away from Agrabah. When Jafar saw the genie vanish, he killed Farzin in rage. Cyrus was transported to the Queen's maze, where he would eventually meet Alice. At present, Knave awakens to Alice practicing swordplay. She plans to find the bottle so Knave can rub it to make harmless wishes, which will force Cyrus to return the bottle no matter where he is now. They will then free him as a genie for good. Knave reminds her that he'll be Cyrus' master then, so Alice decides that she'll have trust in Knave. She reveals that the bottle is hidden in the Mimsy Meadows under a tall tree. Since Rabbit is still asleep, Alice decides to head there without him since the creature might slow them down. Unknown to them, Rabbit is only pretending to sleep and has heard everything. From his cage, Cyrus senses Alice's presence. Meanwhile, the townspeople consult the Queen about their problems, but she gets bored. Suddenly, everyone freezes except her. Jafar arrives and questions how she can listen to these people daily, but she says it's her job. He argues that it's her flaw for wanting to earn their respect rather than taking it. The Queen insults him, doubting that Jafar can alter magical laws, but he argues that it's too early to discuss anything without the genie's bottle. To help her focus on their plans, Jafar turns her people into ashes, and the Queen begins to question her role in his plan. Meanwhile, Knave tells Alice to lower her voice in case someone hears where they're headed. He worries that Cyrus has moved on from her, but she's sure of their love. Elsewhere, Rabbit informs the Queen that the two are on their way as planned, and the woman forces the creature to reveal where the bottle is hidden. With a lake keeping them from their destination, Alice considers swimming across, but Knave can't swim as he's frightened of water. With that, she decides to ask for a fairy's help, much to her companion's annoyance. When the fairy fairy named Silver Mist appears and recognizes Knave, she slaps him. Despite this, the fairy agrees to use her pixie dust to let them fly to the other side. In the dungeon, an older prisoner realizes that Cyrus' cage is made of silver, and it burns his skin. To take his mind off the pain, the man offers to play chess, but Cyrus refuses, thinking about Alice. He then realizes he can write to her using magic paper. Cyrus thinks back to when he gave Alice the 3 wishing gems. Alice then released Rabbit from the bag, who apologized for bringing her to the dangerous Wonderland. She assured him that it wasn't his fault since she followed him, so the rabbit wished her good luck. Afterward, Cyrus told her that the laws of magic prevented the genie from killing or resurrecting anyone, changing the past, or making anybody fall in love. After the 3rd wish, he'll return to the bottle to await his new master. Alice wondered about wishing for Cyrus' freedom, so he told her it was attempted before but failed since the wishes came with consequences. At present, Knave enjoys flying until Silver Mist tosses him in the lake as revenge for deceiving her before. Alice jumps to save him, and they end up on a small island. She accuses her friend of breaking the fairy's heart and wonders who harmed him so severely that he's become cynical about love. In the past, Cyrus was nervous about being in a public place and warned Alice that a man named Jafar was after him. She advised him to stay in his bottle if it was safer, but Cyrus insisted on staying with her. He then asked Alice why she wanted to return to England if she felt imprisoned there, and she revealed she had nowhere else to go. The genie said she could go anywhere, so she became curious about Cyrus's travel experiences. He shared he killed a dragon with a sword, so Alice asked him to train her. Then, Cyrus gave her a paper rose he folded out of magic paper he found on his travels. At the castle, Jafar confronts the queen about the bottle's location, but she refuses and asks for proof that the man will follow their deal. Pissed, Jafar immobilizes her and demands her to obey and be grateful to him, emphasizing that they're not partners. Out of fear, she reveals the location. Stuck in the lake, Alice stomps impatiently, and the island suddenly moves. They then discovered that the island is apparently a turtle, so she threatens it with a sword to make it help them cross the lake. She then remembers when Cyrus taught her swordsmanship. The genie was amazed that she was a fast learner. When Cyrus stole her sword, he advised that when she was cornered without a weapon, she must be smarter than her opponent and use her creativity. Alice realized that she needed to find his weakness. Knowing his feelings for her, she kissed Cyrus, who surrendered both swords. When Alice and Knave get to the meadows, Silver Mist tells them that the caterpillar wants Knave, so she plans to turn him in. The fairy also believes that Knave became heartless because of a woman named Anastasia. Knave explains that he may be numbed, but Alice and Cyrus need his help, so Silver Mist should care about their fate. He then apologizes to her sincerely, and she relents. Alice teases him since he rarely apologizes and wonders who Anastasia is. One day, Cyrus confessed his love for Alice, but worried that she'd make her wishes and move on. Alice promised not to use her wishes, so Cyrus didn't have to return as a genie. With a deal to never forget each other, Alice suggested they bury the bottle. When Jafar arrives at the tree, he releases his bugs to find the bottle. Alice and Knave watch him from afar, but the young woman reveals to her companion that she lied about the bottle's location to know who they're up against. Knave thinks Alice doesn't trust him, but she assures him that she trusts him now. However, when they get to the right place, the bottle is gone. This makes Alice think that Cyrus has moved on from her. In his cage, the genie releases the magic paper so it can find Alice, then collapses in pain. When Jafar arrives to ask where the bottle is hidden, the queen interrupts them, revealing that she has the bottle as she has taken his advice to command respect instead of earning it. The queen tells Jafar to stop underestimating her. She declares that she no longer trusts Jafar, so now that she has the bottle, their partnership must be mutually beneficial. In the meadows, Alice is disappointed because she and Cyrus are the only ones who knew where the bottle was supposed to be. Rabbit awaits the queen at the palace, reminding her of her promise. She says that she'll give him what he desires once she achieves her plan. She then asks Rabbit how he knew about the bottle's true location, and he reveals that he saw the couple bury it in the past. In the meadows, Knave apologizes to Alice for suggesting such cynical ideas about love. He says that Anastasia taught him something about love, but that doesn't mean he was right about Alice and Cyrus. Finally, the magical paper reaches Alice. When she opens it, she finds a letter from Cyrus, assuring her of his love and asking her to leave for her safety. Despite this, she writes back on the paper, promising to come for her beloved. She then sends the paper away, determined to fight through Wonderland to reunite with her love.
Subscribe to watch more videos like this, turn on notifications and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.